The biggest international volleyball tournament of the summer is almost here. This weekend, 24 teams will compete in the Olympic Qualifying Tournaments to have a chance to get a shot straight into the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. You may notice that this is a different system than the FIVB has used in the past for the Olympics. And this is because normally teams would qualify through the World Cup taking place in October. However, since Japan is both the host of the Olympics and of the World Cup, that tournament can't be used for qualifying spots. Instead, we have 24 teams competing across 6 pools for 6 spots straight into Tokyo 2020. In this video, I'll give you the situation of each team in the tournament, some big matchups, and who I think is going to qualify for Tokyo. Let's start the preview with Pool A. In my opinion, probably the most straightforward of all the pools. The teams competing are Brazil, Bulgaria, Egypt, and Puerto Rico. Even though Brazil failed to medal at the VNL finals in Chicago this year, they should be able to take this pool rather comfortably. Being the number 1 seed in the tournament, Bulgaria, Egypt, and Puerto Rico are some of the lower ranked teams in their respective spots. They are still integrating newcomer Joandri Leal, but his recent MVP performance at the Hubert Wagner Memorial Tournaments in Poland shows that he's getting more comfortable with the team. Bulgaria is going through a pretty difficult situation in regards to their national federation. They have a few older players who are being taken off the team by Coach Prandi, including Nikolai Uchikov and the Bratoev brothers, which paves the way for younger talent like Georgi Seganov and the Penchev brothers to shine. Bulgaria will still need exceptional performances from veterans Svedin Sokolov and middle blocker Viktor Yosifov if they want any chance of beating Brazil. Egypt did not participate in the VNL this year, however they did have the chance to qualify at the Challenger Cup, where they took Belarus and Cuba to 5 games, but failed to beat either team. Veteran opposite Ahmed Abdelhay may be on his last legs because he really struggled to score efficiently during that tournament. Puerto Rico is the last ranked team in the entire Olympic qualifiers, and they just finished playing in the Pan American Games with their A team just a few days ago. So assuming their top team even comes to this tournament, it'll be tough dealing with all the fatigue, travel, and playing against very skilled opponents. The biggest match in this pool is probably Bulgaria versus Brazil, taking place on Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Brazil is definitely the more talented team, especially when it comes to serving and passing, but that huge Bulgarian block could pose problems for their outside attackers. Pool B of the Olympic qualifiers includes the USA, Belgium, the Netherlands, and South Korea. This is another pool where I think the top team, in this case the USA, should be able to confidently sweep their pool. Belgium and the Netherlands are stronger than Bulgaria and Egypt respectively, but shouldn't pose too much of a threat to the Americans. They should have the same lineup they've been rolling out since the 2016 Olympics: Taylor Sander, Aaron Russell, Max Holt, David Smith, Matt Anderson, Micah Christensen, and Eric Shoji. However, as we saw in the Nations League finals, there are some serious injuries going on with American outside hitters right now. TJ DeFalco is not with the team. Thomas Jayski is still in a walking boot, almost a year since his injury. Aaron Russell still seems to be dealing with some nagging injuries as well, which means in that finals they had to start Garrett Magatutia, who was a non-factor in offense against much more physical teams like Russia. Belgium, had they competed in VNL this year, would have been contenders for a top 6 spot, with a great trio of wings in Sam Deroux, Thomas Rousseau, and Bram van den Dries.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
The Netherlands had a fairy tale 8th place finish at the World Championships in 2018, led by superstar opposite spiker Namir Abdelaziz. Those upsets might be tough to replicate with a really tough pool and the retirement of several of their key players. We haven't seen much of South Korea since they got relegated out of Nations League in 2018, and while I like players like Ji-Suk Jeong and Shin Young-seok, I think their focus will be more on qualifying through the continental qualifiers in January rather than this tournament. The biggest match in this pool is Belgium versus the USA. I fully expect the USA to win it, probably in 3 or 4 sets, but if the USA sprays serves all over the court like they did in the VNL finals, and Belgium is able to keep up with their side-out game, it might be an interesting match. But where it really should start to get interesting is in Pool C, which has Italy, Serbia, Australia, and Cameroon. Those last 2 teams should be contenders within their own continental qualifiers, but the real titans of this pool are Italy and Serbia. Only the winner of this pool will qualify straight to the Olympics, and the second place team will have to go through the Olympic Continental Qualifiers, where they will also have to play the loser of Poland versus France, as well as many other strong European teams. Italy has Ivan Zaitsev and Osmane Wantarena back with the national team after there were rumors they would not be competing in this Olympics. And when you factor in that setter Simone Gianelli managed to take Daniel Lavia and Oresto Cavuto and still finish 7th in Nations League, the upgrade from those guys to Zaitsev and Wantarena will make them very dangerous. Serbia will be a dangerous opponent though, with some of the most coveted club volleyball players on the entire planet, like Alexander Tanasejevic, Sreko Lizinac, Uroš Kovačević, and Marko Ivović. However, they still haven't found a good replacement for Nikola Jovovic, who still struggles sometimes to find those outside hitters. Additionally, they will be missing middle blocker Marko Predraščanin, who is dealing with an injury. And also, they recently placed in 4th place at the Hubert Wagner Memorial Tournament, behind Brazil, Poland, and surprisingly, Finland as well. Australia is a well-coached team with some interesting young players and some veterans coming in for just this tournament, but those veterans aren't skilled enough to really make a difference, especially against teams like Italy and Serbia. Cameroon is worth watching just for maybe one of the last international appearances by Nathan Wuenembena, but like the other African countries in this tournament, their best bet to qualify for the Olympics is through the Continental Qualifier. As great as Pool C is, Pool D might be even more interesting. We have 2 elite teams in Poland and France who have both won gold medals in international competitions over the past few years, as well as Slovenia, who is definitely the best 3rd-ranked team in any of these pools. Joining them is Tunisia, who got very unlucky with pool placement in this tournament. This will be the first major tournament that Poland is playing with Wilfredo Leon, who just came off a record-setting season in the Italian Super League with Sir Safety Perugia, and is the most dangerous server and attacker in volleyball right now. He will be joining the current world champions, giving me some serious Kevin Durant on the Golden State Warriors vibes. Wiedelhanen has also made a couple interesting roster choices for the tournament, leaving off VNL All-Star Bartosz Bednarz and rising young star middle Jakub Kochanowski off the roster. If there's any team that can beat Poland, however, France is one of the good picks. While they haven't had too many impressive results recently, they still have a roster full of players that are some of the best at their positions, including Irvin Engapet and a much improved Trevor Clevenot at outside, Zhenya Grebenikov at libero, Stefan Boyer at opposite, and a great pair of setters in Benjamin Taniuti and Antoine Brizard. Slovenia are no slouches either, recently qualifying for next year's VNL by winning the FIVB Challenger Cup, beating Cuba 3-0 in the finals. They have guys playing on high-level club teams at every position on their roster. Tine Ernout might not be Irvin Engapet, and Dion Kazimiernik might not be Mateusz Bieniek, but they were still both starters on good teams in the Italian Super League. Poland and France will take these matches very seriously. However, they probably won't take the last match seriously against Tunisia, who despite recently winning the African Volleyball Championships, won't be any threat to the teams in this pool. Pool E has some interesting matchups as well, with Russia as the clear favorites, but with some interesting challenger teams in Iran and Cuba, and also Mexico, who you might remember is only winning 1 set at the 2016 Olympics. Russia recently won the Nations League for the 2nd year in a row, and did so without several important starters. Dmitry Mazursky, Maxim Mikhailov, and Alexander Butko will all be returning to the team for the Olympic qualifiers. And while these 3 are Olympic gold medalists and extremely talented volleyball players, you have to wonder if introducing these new players with the limited amount of time that teams have to prepare for the tournament might affect the chemistry of the team negatively. Waiting to take advantage of that opportunity is Iran. They are coming off a stunning Nations League performance, where they finished in 2nd place in the round-robin phase at 12-3. However, this success did not translate to the final 6, where they did not win a game. Part of this disparity might be due to starting their best 7 the whole round-robin phase and having 2 rounds with a very loud and passionate home crowd, but if Iran isn't too fatigued from Nations League and plays their best volleyball, they have an outside shot at beating Russia. Cuba may have less of a chance than Iran of beating Russia, but they will be bolstered by the surprise return of Robert Landy Simon to the Cuban national team, who he has not played with since 2010. Simon is still one of the best middle blockers in the world and will be a huge upgrade for Cuba in terms of blocking, attacking, and serving. However, he will not be joined by the rumored returnees Michael Sanchez and Raydel Hierzula. Other than Simon, the rest of the team is generally under the age of 25, so their lack of experience may be detrimental in a high-pressure tournament like this. And the last team in the pool is Mexico, who I don't think has a realistic shot at qualifying either through this tournament or in the North American qualifiers. The hottest matchup in this pool, Russia versus Iran, will take place at noon Eastern Time on Sunday. Maruf will need to run a lightning-fast offense if he wants to get around those huge Russian blockers. And finally, Pool F, which is very, very tight at the top. The teams in this pool are Canada, Argentina, Finland, and China. Canada is my pick to make it out of the pool, but it is a very tight race between them and Argentina. Both teams have been consistently finishing between 6 and 10 at international events over the past few years. The biggest question for Canada is health. TJ Sanders, the starting setter, and one of the guys I picked as one of my top 10 setters in the world, has basically been injured for an entire year. And while backups Jay Blankenau and Brett Walsh have been playing well, they're not able to run the offense as quickly or as effectively. Young opposite Shawan Vernon Evans twisted his ankle and missed the last couple weeks of Volleyball Nations League, but he's healthy for this tournament, and Canada will need his ability to basically ignore the block and become a big part of their offense. Argentina is a very talented team too though, and their top lineup hasn't really played together much over the past few years. They are led by superstar setter Luciano De Checo, who is still one of the best setters in the world at fixing bad passes. He will be relied upon to breathe life into an Argentinian offense that has struggled at times to find kills. Another help in this department though is the outbreak of libero Santiago Dinani, who helped Argentina in the Volleyball Nations League just as much as he helped Padova in the Italian Super League. Finland, however, won't be an easy opponent for either of these teams, recently placing ahead of Serbia in the Hubert Wagner Memorial Tournament. They have a mix of older and younger players like Niko Suikonen, and has a disciplined defense led by libero Lauri Kerminen. I would be more confident in the last team in this pool, China, especially playing at home. However, they are coming off an absolutely disastrous Volleyball Nations League performance, where they were by far the worst team in the tournament. And this was with 2 rounds at home playing with their starters against a lot of other countries' B teams as well. Zhang Xuan would need to score like 50 points in one match for them to have a chance. The big matchup in this pool happens almost right at the start of the entire tournament, with Canada and Argentina facing off on Friday morning. And while this is a very important game in the pool, both teams should still be able to fairly easy qualify for the Olympics through continental qualifiers in North America and South America respectively. So there it is, the situation of all 24 teams taking part in the Olympic qualifying tournaments. If you want more detailed previews on all the teams, check out the 5-1 Volleyball podcast, which I post to Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and my website. I think Brazil, the USA, Italy, Poland, Russia, and Canada will qualify in this tournament, but if you have different teams that you think will qualify, let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're looking forward to this tournament just as much as I am.